All right. Picture this. It's a beautiful spring day. You're sitting down on the field, and the grass is very soft, and you feel it in your hand. In your left hand, you have a lemonade, as your right hand ruffles against the leaves. You're so excited. It just feels blissful. You love it. And then the sun peeps out of the clouds. You close your eyes and you just feel the radiance. Suddenly you get this feeling that something's watching you. But you know you're alone. You looked around before you laid down. Suddenly something covers your eyes. It's a shadow. You open your eyes and you see a majestic bird in flight. Well, everybody, I'm here to tell you, birds aren't real. Now, I know what you're thinking. Birds aren't real? What the heck? I've seen a bird in flight. I know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about. And a year ago, I probably would have agreed with you. I'm like, birds aren't real? What? That's crazy. Nah, birds are actually government surveillance drones, and I'm here to explain why. I'm not here to take you and move you all the way to where I am to buy merch from the Birds Aren't Real movement. I'm here to bump you up a little bit, so if you see a bird, you're like, maybe. Today I want to talk about the facts and the friction, the history and the movement. Not facts and fiction, facts and friction. Okay, first things first. Let's start right here. 1947. This is the Cold War. United States were kind of confused. The government decided to create the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, in order to look at Americans suspect of doing communistic things. It was a scary time, a very unpheasant time, if you will. Let's move over here to 1956. President Dwight D. Eisenhower created an open skies plan. Part of his plan allowed spy planes in the sky. You can read about this on history.org. And that was just part of the plan. Maybe there's a lot more at play. Oh, this is getting exciting. 1973, this is when the movement began. Birds aren't real. I'll get back to where this is, but it's bliss. Let's continue. This is a little bit further away, 2018. This is China. China decided to deploy a flock of drones that look like birds. The company was called DTI, and to surveillance. And what their purpose was just surveillance. To amp surveillance in China. It's pretty weird. And last but not least, tiny little stop, 2019. There's a college called Rutgers in New Jersey. And what they did is they created a bird drone. And it looks really convincing. I have a short clip right here I'd like to play for you guys. Thank you. So, you might have not been able to see or hear very well, but there's two main things I want you to focus on about these drones. They fly longer, or maybe three. They fly longer, less battery life, and they can carry a heavier load, maybe a camera. So who was able to crack this history case? Well, this is where friction comes in, the movement. Birds aren't real. Let's take a look at the logo really quickly. Now, we all listened to Emma's speech a few days ago, which was really awesome, talking about Comic Sans. She specifically said Comic Sans isn't something that you want to be professional in. This isn't Comic Sans. They're professional. They want everyone to know that this is important. Secondly, I remember Christy's speech. She talked about grammar. In the Birds Aren't Real website, it talks about how important this apostrophe right here in between the N and the T is. It means that we're professional and we mean business. Aiden, I would like you to come up here and share a little bit of how you were influenced with the Birds Aren't Real movement. Just take like 20 seconds, please.
So I stumbled across the Birds Aren't Real movement on Instagram about a year ago. And at first I was like, okay, there's no way this is true. But as I looked into it and I discovered research and the emails that people have discovered and the secret things the government has been hiding, it began to dawn on me why the government would want to do this, and now I can say that I'm a fully fledged member of the Feathered Gospel.
It's really nice to have a fellow brethren up here standing on stage. So what's the purpose? What's their aim? What are they trying to do? Right now, they're trying to inform. They're trying to let everybody know that birds have been replaced by drones. So you might have a few questions that I had, like what about bird poop? Birds poop. What? Drones don't poop. That doesn't make any sense. At first they thought it was oil discharge. But after research that says 87% of bird poop in populated areas falls on cars, they think that it's tracking devices. You can read about this on their website. Another one is bird meat. It's 100% synthetic. If all of the birds had just up and disappeared and then all of the meat had changed, that would have been kind of suspicious. And so they say that 100% of bird meat is synthetic. And I'd like to go back to Griffin's speech. When he talked about chickens, and you put a chicken inside of a KFC bucket, you stack those buckets on top of each other, it'll go all the way up to the moon and back 3 times. That stuck with me, and I'd like it to stick with you guys too. Think about that. Lastly, how do they recharge? They don't require as much battery life, but how does that work? Power lines, they're everywhere. They're always on them. That's how they recharge. Those were just some of the answers that I found. And in conclusion, we have the facts, we have the history, we have the movement, we have the friction. And we're all different, but we're also a community. And because of this movement isn't just a movement, it's a community as well, I would like to add my invitation to you all. To be a part of the Birds Aren't Real, I'd like you guys to put these posters up, maybe in your room, maybe on campus. I have one printed out for everyone. I designed this, it took me about an hour. But please help me spread the feathered gospel. Remember, birds aren't real. Thank you.